To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. So I thought I'd come down in the woods. I've been kind of lazy the last couple of weeks with the temperatures being so cold. I mean, you wake up in the morning, you go outside and it's 0 degrees outside with a wind chill of -20. I've tried to do something every day. Got our water thawed out just yesterday, so that was nice. We had a discovery on how we could actually have showers with hot water if our tank freezes up again. And I can't believe we didn't think of it before, but essentially just use the well and the generator. And I don't know why we didn't think of it. Now it's over with, we figured it out. So we'll have a plan if this ever happens again where the tank freezes up. We'll still have water using the well. I'm not going to explain it. It would be too complicated unless I actually hooked it all up. But just know that's how living off grid is about. Is you're always thinking about how can I resolve this problem so it's not a problem again next year. And I've said this in several videos now. I really do feel like my life is easier than somebody with a big fancy house hooked up to the utilities. So I came down to the woods today. I've been feeling a little guilty. I got all kinds of firewood down here that I need to get stacked so it'll be ready for next year, so it's dry next year. And it's laying down here and it's getting snowed on and messed up. I mean, I got tons of it down here. I still got the area over here where I cleared up on the other side for the garden. I still got trees over there that I got to get cut. So a lot left to do before spring hits and copperheads start coming out. I want to get all the wooded area stuff done. I had planned on doing so much more this winter out here in the woods, but the priority became the tiny house, and we got the tiny house finished. And I can't tell you what a blessing that was. Having the foresight, I guess, thinking, okay, winter's going to hit. It's going to hit, and it's going to hit hard, and we got it done, and that way we didn't have to live in the camper. That is one of the things I've said a lot also in these videos is, since we've started living off grid, it seems like luck has always been on my side. When we were living a nomadic lifestyle, I was never lucky. Well, hardly ever in my life have I been lucky. When you need good weather, it was bad weather. Well, here, it seems like, okay, well, I'm gonna wait and send you the bad weather until you get your tiny house done. See, there's more firewood laying over here. I got it everywhere. And my intention was to come down and get it, but it just got so cold and the tiny house took priority. But I do got to get it up. Oh, there's some more here. It's all buried in snow. I'll never find it. Oh, man, there's deer tracks everywhere down here, right here. There's deer tracks. So this is kind of neat coming out here in the snow. I brought you down here one other time after an ice storm, and the trees were just covered in ice. I was scared to be down here, afraid the trees would start toppling over. The reason I bring the topic up about our well water, we figured out how to take shower with our well. While Carolyn and I were talking about that, I got a comment that says, yeah, I'm gonna get me 40 acres and I'm gonna get the way out there in the middle of nowhere and I'm gonna, have 10 million watts of solar panels and I'm gonna do this and that, yeah. And he was bragging. I mean, he was just literally bragging about all he was going to do. He was trying to make a point that you only got 1.5 acres and you only got 1,000 watts of solar and you're not really off grid. Because you got a house next to you and you got neighbors and just on and on and on. Well, first of all, whatever your definition of off grid is, I think everybody's is different. I get this all the time. You're on YouTube, you're not off grid. If you watch those conspiracy theory movies, you're never going to be off grid if you're a conspiracy theory. You're going to have a Faraday dome so they can't track you through satellite imagery and cell phones and it's just, I am off grid. My definition of grid is not being tied up to the electric grid and the water grid and the sewer grid and all that. I didn't want to pay utilities anymore. I wanted a cheap piece of property where my taxes weren't going to be very high. And it was like $22 this year, I think, for my taxes. Something I can afford every year no matter what happens. I can sell enough corn on the cob on the side of the street to make $22 to pay my taxes. I didn't want to have debt. I don't have debt. I have a nice savings account. I feel like being tied to the bank, you're on grid because you owe someone. And this thing that makes me happy this piece of property could be taken away. If something went wrong and I couldn't afford to pay the payment, I could lose it. The only way I can get 40 acres is if I, went into debt. Someone bought it for me and I had to pay them back. When I was young and stupid, I bought me a brand new pickup truck, a Chevy S10, and I was in a car accident. I wasn't driving. I was busted up pretty bad. I couldn't work. I lost my ability to work, and so I lost my revenue. They took my truck. I couldn't pay the bill. And I never want to be in that situation again. So we don't spend a lot of money. We save most everything we make. And people call me cheap. I don't feel like I'm cheap. I think I'm smart. So when we bought a piece of property, we were trying to be smart. Something that we could afford that could never be taken away from us as long as we could pay the $22 in taxes. That's smart to me. No matter what happens to us, house burns down, whatever, I got this. Yes, I know the conspiracy theories, and they're going to say, oh, what about agenda, whatever. If life continues as it does, I should be able to always keep this piece of property. It's not a lot, but it makes me free. And so then all I have to do is buy the solar panels. That's a one-time purchase every 20 years. It was $1,200. I said that in yesterday's video. And then the rest of it goes in savings for our retirement. One day I may not be able to cut firewood, for example. I hope to have a stockpile of it, and I've talked about that, how you can stockpile firewood so it doesn't rot. But I hope to have a stockpile of firewood that lasts me 10 or 15 years after I can't cut it anymore. But if I don't have that, I'd like to have enough savings account where I can buy firewood. It's like $200 a cord. I want to think about my future also, have a retirement fund where I'm not depending on anybody to take risk for me, put it in a stock market, 401k. And then as soon as I need the money, the market crashes and I don't have my money. So no, I'll just keep it. So how can you get a piece of property? Well, I'll tell you what Carolyn and I did. The first thing we had to do was we had to figure out where we could live off-grid at. And I wanted to live someplace near the coast. I really did. I like Florida and Mississippi. But both of them have a lot of restrictions. Every time I say that, people from Mississippi, no, we don't, no, we don't. Well, the research I did, 90% of it came back. Well, I guess all of it came back saying that we couldn't do it. There's a lot of videos that talk about the top 10 places to live off-grid. And Missouri's right up there at the top, our home state. Tennessee was right up the top. Sometimes, one person say Tennessee was number one person say Missouri was number one. But, of course, you got Alaska and Hawaii. And there's other states. Maine, I think, was in there. Then you also have to think about land prices. In Tennessee, everything we looked at was really expensive. So, we went back to Missouri. And Missouri's nice. It really is. They do leave you alone. It's amazing. I had to leave the state for 4 years to come back and realize how great it is. But the land prices aren't bad either. Depending on where you're at, if you go to Lake Ozarks, obviously it's going to be really expensive. But Carolyn and I found probably a dozen places that was under $10,000. This was $4,200. I was able to pay cash. And I think this is key, pay cash, get a warranty deed. Don't go with the quick claim deed. We tried that. We was going to get 10 acres. It was, I forget, $7,000, I think, for 10 acres. We just didn't trust our gut anymore. Didn't have a driveway. We were going to have to develop it. There was just a lot of things that we really weren't feeling comfortable about. And Carolyn found everything. Everything she found was on Facebook Marketplace. Of course, she likes Facebook Marketplace. I guess you go to Craigslist and different places like that. I hear so many people, where'd you find your property? But do it through an individual. You can negotiate. He was going to sell this place for $4,700, and we got it for $4,200. Has a well and a septic. If you think about it, the well was probably $2,000 by itself. So that means it was down to $2,200, which is right around market price, $2,000 an acre. But the key is do not finance. You got to have the cash. And it amazes me how many people say, well, I'm going to get somebody to finance it for me. Don't do it. You're going to lose it. Guarantee you're going to lose it. Something's going to happen and you'll lose it. Or you could lose it. And the risk is just too high for me. So I encourage you, Save the money for a year. Stop spending money. Stop spending money. And I've already told you, with the house and the property and the solar panels, we're probably right around $10,000 to live free. Financially free, having freedom to do what we want on our little piece of paradise. I agree that, you know, a lot of people think this is not the paradise. You got an electric line running through your property. Well, that reduced the price. It made it where I could have my freedom. With the little inconvenience of looking at a stupid electric line every now and then. I don't care about the electric line. I also can come out here and look at deer tracks. It's wonderful. Now, another thing you can do is you can go to the courthouse and see if anybody has defaulted on their taxes. And you might be able to buy a piece of property that way through auction and different things. I've seen a lot of people do that. Maybe minimize your dream a little bit so you can still live the dream. I hope I can inspire you to start today to find your dream. Thanks for watching.